But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. It is Wednesday, my dudes, April 23rd, 2025.
Yes, it is.
Episode 153. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. Everett, are you enjoying the Battle of Ontario NHL playoff series right now?
No, I'm not. Shut the fuck up. I'm not. I'm not. Like, and I live in Toronto. I'm a Sens fan. I live in Toronto. So my group chat right now, especially, is just getting getting sodomized, really. And like, hey, you know it, like, turn things around, tied things up, managed to send it in overtime, and the worst is like I get the notifications earlier than like I can see it on the TV because my Fire Stick. Yep. So I saw the notification and I just saw a goal and I didn't want to look at it. And the play right before the overtime goal was an Ottawa rush that got shut down and back the other way. So I saw a goal and I saw the rush and I was like, yes, baby, let's go. We're going to tie up the series. They fucking turned it around and scored.
That one hurt. Yeah, I love the NHL playoffs. It's been electric as a neutral fan anyway, because the Blackhawks are ass. But
the there's nothing like the NHL playoffs. Sorry, volleyball.
Really
I love you. But there is nothing like the NHL playoffs.
They're really great.
Just in terms of pure passion and like blood, sweat, and tears to the game, there's nothing like the NHL.
I love them so much. It clears the NBA by leaps and bounds. It's not even a conversation, but that's not what we're here to talk about. It is playoff season, Everett. And speaking of passion and blood, sweat, and tears and determination and the entertainment caliber and the whole thing, congratulations to VAKIFBANK Istanbul, man. Congratulations to VAKIFBANK. We hadn't even started the final series in our last show. We played 3 full matches of the final series, donged 3-1, 3-1, 3-1. Series over. VAKIFBANK takes down Fenerbahçe. Stunning, honestly, stunning result. There's so much to get into about this, but
if we can rewind to the beginning of the season, Rob, to when it looked like VAKIFBANK was floundering. Everyone was wondering what was happening. You know, even myself, I was looking at it and I was like, well, I don't know if this is a good situation for Kira. I don't know if this is maybe too much pressure and too much, and it's just not happening. And then the way that this team has been able to come together and turn things around, incredible. I think so much credit goes to Giovanni Guidetti with his umpteenth. Yeah, with that guy. What is that, like his 30th trophy? Is like his 29th trophy?
It was his 29th major trophy.
29th major trophy with this club. With
VAKIFBANK.
Just with VAKIFBANK.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, bro, he is absolutely incredible. He's been there like almost 20 years. And the way that this team was able to play and just neutralize everything that Fenerbahçe was able to do and just get the most out of every single player throughout it was just a masterclass in coaching. And that's the difference when you're like, that was chess, not checkers, right? 100%. And the other, and to be honest, on the other side with Fenerbahçe, they were still trying to figure out how to put the checkers pieces on the board, right? They didn't know which side went on which, and we're all confused.
That's a fantastic analogy, because that's exactly what it looked like watching this series. Guidetti coached circles around whoever the hell it even was, Abundanza or whoever else on the Fenerbahçe side. Like the move I really loved the most was at the end of match number 1, I think. Guidetti switched which one of his foreigners he was using in that last spot. He took out Katarina Bossetti, put in Daria Jebigiolu at left side, and then put in Yuan Jinue in the middle. And I loved that move. He kept it the rest of the series. The middle position, I thought, for VAKIFBANK was super impactful. But most importantly, I have some numbers I want to throw out for you, Everett.
Yeah, hit me numbers.
Look at this. We got them on the screen here. Kira Van Rijk and Marina Markova combined outplayed Fenerbahçe's quote-unquote golden trio in every single metric. They outscored them. Those two players outscored Vargas Fedorov-Seva and Ana Cristina. They outhit them in terms of efficiency by 150 points. Kira Van Rijk hit 407 on the series, 5.3 points per set. Marina Markova, even better, 439 efficiency, 6.4 points per set, an outstanding reception. Vargas was the only wing on Fenerbahçe to hit over 300. Fedorovtseva only 217. And Ana Cristina did a lot of her scoring in the serving game because I think she had one match where she had 6 aces. Also, the middle blocker position, more points and less errors for Fenerbahçe. For VAKIFBANK compared to Fenerbahçe's middles combined. This was a clinic, a well-deserved, earned beatdown in every metric by VAKIFBANK over the maybe on paper most talented team on planet Earth.
Ooh, would you? Actually, yeah.
Those 3 wins, man.
No. I'm still giving that to Conegliano. Conegliano. I'm sorry. But that, I mean, fuck, you broke it down perfectly right there. That was an absolute clinic, and you could tell by the eye test too, right? Yeah. Just the emotional responses from from VAKIFBANK, and for me, the big one was right. Set 3 in this last match was a different story for Fenerbahçe. Like that was the Fenerbahçe that we were expecting. That was the performance that we were expecting from them at home in front of that crowd. It's not an easy thing to do, and they just went right back to business in set number 4. They just went right back to business and right back to dominating. Sure, you know what? They made the setter change. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who's setting. We'll make our adjustments. We'll take care of it on our side. And that, to me, I think was the definition between what VAKIFBANK was doing compared to Fenerbahçe. Is VAKIFBANK just took care of their own side. Right. And I think that's sometimes the benefit of having a struggle at the beginning of the season, when, you know what, you have to figure out some of those issues. Whereas to me, Fenerbahçe was just resting on its laurels and just resting on its talent. Right. There's no doubt that this was one of the most talented teams in the world. I'm still going to say Conegliano is the number 1 team in the world, and we'll get that into it a little bit. But this team should be able to compete kind of week in, week out. And you can just tell that, you know, since the firing of Fenoglio, we've learned about how much Fenerbahçe fans have hated him. And Kiro Neri in the chat pointed out that like one of the worst things for them to do was to get rid of Lavarini, right? They should have kept Lavarini last year after everything that they were able to do. Instead, they went to go chase someone else, fired him somewhat arbitrarily just because they lost to Galatasaray, and then brought in Abondanza. Like, what? I don't know what you're expecting in that situation, right? There's no stability there.
No, I want to talk about Fenerbahçe a little more in a second, but to give a little bit more credit to this man, Giovanni Guidetti and VAKIFBANK, I think that the example you gave about sets 3 and 4 in match number 3 yesterday, whenever that was, is the perfect example, because in
it's
just
like the microcosm of
the entire thing. Exactly. Yeah. Fenerbahçe is good enough that they will, like a broken elite clock is still going to be right twice a day in Fenerbahçe's case. They're going to catch fire from the baseline. They're going to go nuts. They're going to be physical. They're going to put that together in moments, and they did in that third set. And this guy, Giovanni Guidetti, just retook control, was able to bend the game back to their style and focus on their side of the net, and it worked. And that was really, really impressive. How many of the sets, there were like 12 sets in this final series, almost all of the sets, VAKIFBANK got off to an enormous lead in almost all the sets, including, I think, all 4 of the sets yesterday in match number 3. They were just more ready to play. They were more focused. They were more together. They made way less errors. That was a massive difference. And then another player to shout out who was actually named MVP of the series, and I think she's got a great case, was Cansu Özbay. As good as Markova and Van Rijk were, Cansu Özbay, like that, the biggest difference to me was how much better Cansu Özbay played than either Fenerbahçe setter. She was outstanding. She
exemplified. I've been very hot and cold on her over the years, and right now I'm red fucking hot.
Yeah,
she's everything.
She's been up and down her
center.
Right.
She's like there was like the technical and tactical aspect of it was phenomenal. right? Her ability to get the isolation, to run that spread with Markova and Kira Van Rijk. I mean, you look and see just how efficient but both of them were. Like Markova hitting at 42% efficiency.
The numbers are insane.
33% efficiency for Kira. This the same thing too, right? And most of those issues happened in that third set where Fenerbahçe was really dominating. We even saw Ali Franti come in for a little bit, and kind of get pushed around a little bit in there. But her ability to tactically break down Fenerbahçe and just have them siding out at such a high clip was impressive. But to me, the biggest thing is that she set with her heart. Like, you could tell that she had her heart on her sleeve, and she was leading that team like a captain does. And she was an emotional leader for that team. And you've got, both Markova and Kira are both fiery in different ways. They're not very vocal, right? They're not those go leaders. And I found that Özbey was really the way that everything happened around her. And whereas it was the complete opposite side on the side, like Dercha was so bad. Dercha, so bad. Like honestly, teams picking up Dercha to me is the quality of like teams who keep on picking up
Stoichev or Stoichev. Yeah.
Where it's just like, guys, we're really just banking on old, like bygone days where they're just not necessarily that player anymore. So yeah, it was two polar opposites for me. What Markova did and what Kira did were fantastic. Like all of the statistical things, but the emotional part of it and just how VAKIFBANK came in and prepared for this series compared to how Fenerbahçe did was just two completely different scenarios. But then I guess that's what you have when your coach gets fired in the middle of a playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, you texted me yesterday during the game, Everett, and said Fenerbahçe looks like a team who fired their coach. And they did. They looked completely clueless. It's such a fascinating example of volleyball, but also just sports, of how the situation and the coaching staff and the franchise and the mentality and the pressure and all of that really does matter, man. It really matters that franchise clearly delivered a message that couldn't have been more clear, that if you lose at all, it's a massive disappointment and everyone's losing their jobs. Like the precedent that they set, that absolutely trickles down to the players. It affects the on-court ability of that team to succeed without a question when that franchise has such a stranglehold on them like they did, and firing Fenolio when they did less than a week after winning the Turkish Cup. And it's just a total dumpster fire from a franchise level, and they have to take a hard look in the mirror about what is reasonable for running a sports franchise, because Fenerbahçe is huge. They have way more than just volleyball. Volleyball's kind of a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of things, but it's gaining in importance, and it's clearly because they're making these moves such that they really value the results. And they just got beat by a team that, ever listen to this, this is the first time since Conegliano in 2019 that a team has won a major club league without one of the big four opposites on the team.
Damn.
Since 2019, Conegliano.
Although, hey, man.
Kira Van Rijk?
Kira Van Rijk.
Talk about your girl right now.
Okay.
Talk about her.
This series alone was a Canadian volleyball fan's wet dream.
Oh, so
like,
good.
If you, like, this is hands down the best Kira Van Rijk we have ever seen. Now, if that continues into national team season, we'll see. But, oh, man, I'm hard. I'm wet for everything that could potentially happen here. First and foremost, Kira Van Rijk is the best server in the world right now on the women's side. She went up against the team that has, quote unquote, the two best servers in the world, and consistently was out serving them over 100 kilometers an hour. Like, everyone's seen that viral picture,
the photo
of the ball compression of her hitting it. She hits the ball fucking hard. And she always has. She always has. I remember seeing her as a first year at UBC, hearing the sound that she made, and I was like, oh, that's different. And that's just not different for Canadian volleyball. That was just for volleyball, period. But the way that she's been able to focus in on things, and I think that one thing to be also aware of is yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of her mom's passing away. And if you know anything about Kira and you know how close she was with her mom, like Kira was offered full rides to Nebraska, to Wisconsin, to every big school in the States wanted Kira Van Rijk. And she decided to stay home at UBC because she wanted to be closer to her family, right? So this is an athlete who didn't play an 18U club year so she could get ready and spend some time with her family and not have to worry about club, because that's how damn good she was. And everyone knew that she was as a top recruit. So you go from losing one of your pillars just 2 years ago and bouncing back the way that she has. You know, I got to talk to Guidetti, and he told me that he has never worked, and like this will be out soon, that he has never worked with an athlete like Kira who always shows up like a professional, day in, day out. It was crazy when he told me, and the synergy that these two had, and I saw them, you know, kind of after the match, and I've seen some pictures of them again. Like that to me is something special. And then it happens sometimes between a coach and an athlete, and I really hope that energy is just brought back to the national team, because right now Guidetti is absolutely cooking. Kira is looking like the best that she's ever been. You know, there was at times like, is she? There's still some time to go, but she might be in the conversation with like potentially an Antropova, with like way better than Stysiak at this point. Like we're gonna rank her higher than Stysiak, and then like a Jordan Thompson.
Oh, for
so
sure.
Like you were the one saying yesterday in the Discord that, you know, there's no doubt that Kira Van Rijk is the best opposite in North America right now.
Oh, there's no question about it.
So, you know, I think that we're just coming in. It's just the way that like she's still a little bit error prone, just not as much. Her emotional responses to some of these frustrating moments are way better. She's hitting the fucking shit out of the ball. There's no other way to swear, like to say it. Like I have to double swear there, because like you could just feel it. So yeah, like, am I not a little aroused by thinking of the potential of the Canadian women's national team and how good they're going to be this year? Yes, and that's strictly about their on-court play. Don't take that out of context.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, this was that. It was so much fun to watch, just how good she was and how focused she was, and then just the magic that Guidetti was cooking at the same
Incredible.
time. It was one.
Yeah, a lot to feel good about if you're a Canadian women's volleyball fan watching this series, and a lot to feel bad about if you are a Fenerbahçe fan. Their Instagram comments, oh my god, oh my god, it is. I do not. I mean, I've been very harsh on their front office, but I do not envy the position they're in right now. They've put themselves there, but I do not know what they can do to appease that fan base. Obviously, you got to fix the setter position. It sounds like a certain Italian gold medalist is on her way to wearing blue and gold. But I think if I'm Alessia Oro, we can just say it. My price for my contract just doubled with watching the performance that Dircha just put up yesterday.
100%. Also, like if we're going to talk about next year's squads too, like I think this is maybe a moment, because Kira did everything this year and was able to do so good, and VAKIFBANK is going away from that and went out to get Boskovic for next year. So there's like a huge shakeup in the Turkish league, right? So it's very interesting to see how that team is going to do with Boskovic playing for them next year, as opposed to Kira going to play for Shanghai next year. Not too sure how I feel about it. I just hope she's getting an absolute bag. I just hope she's absolutely getting a bag, and then maybe just maybe she has the ability to come back and play like a League One situation after that.
Hope so for her sake, because I do not like the vibes of anybody going to the Chinese league. That is not a good deal. You brought up Tijana Boskovic, and I wanted to acknowledge pretty quickly that Idzaja Basha beat Galatasaray 2-0 in matches to take third, and that it is the end of an era for that club. You see, like here, this is the perfect photo. The emotion on the faces of Tijana Boskovic and Hande Baladin, who have been there for 7-8-ish years, have been playing for that club for a very long time. Have had a lot of individual success, but that club just cannot win the big one. A couple Super Cups, a couple CEV Cups, I think one Club World Championship, but otherwise, like I think the tenure of these two really good players, Boskovic in particular, for a club with that much budget, you definitely, if you're a fan of Eczacıbaşı, wish you would have gotten more out of those players. Now they're both out of here. Bošković to VAKIFBANK, Baladin to Fenerbahçe.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think I don't know. I think Eczacıbaşı in terms of volleyball needs to re-examine some things and reset a little bit.
You got to hire the coach first.
Yeah, you got to fire the coach, and it looks like, I think the Turkish league, to me, just in terms of what's happening and the way that they're stocking up on both the men's side and the women's side, is really interesting. Is really damn interesting. And I think next year I'm going to try to spend a little bit more time watching the Turkish league. But yeah, like there's so many interesting things. I mean, Lia Ying is going to be playing for Galatasaray as well. Right. There's Karatasu who's still in the mix. Like the big teams in Turkey are very interesting to watch.
Zarenspor all of a sudden has a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Like it's a really, really interesting league. And the VAKIFBANK season, by the way, is not done yet. They still have a chance to play for a Champions League final at home, and they've got Skandici in the semis. And the way that both of those teams have looked the last time we've seen them, it's going to be difficult not to pick.
Not to mention, this is Champions League, right? So you're no longer rocking with the, hey, do I need Bosetti or I need Yuan Jinwei? You can have both, baby.
However,
both? It's the Welch's girl.
That also that helps Skandici too tremendously. Now we'll preview Champions League when it gets a little bit closer. Congrats again to VAKIFBANK. This was
Skandici, no foreigner limit.
Yeah,
but I come on. Like, you're going to tell me that you think Skandici can take on VAKIFBANK the way that this VAKIFBANK team is cooking right now?
I would not tell you that. I do not think that.
Like, okay, Karina Antropova just had one of the best seasons, if not the best season in the history of the LVF, and I would still pick Kier Van Rijk right now. Yes, I'm a homer, but fuck it. I'm going to say it.
They did get donged in the LegaVolley Femminile semifinals
by the team who got donged in the finals.
See you later, Malonza. This is just because it's expected and just because it is not even a remote surprise does not take away from the dominance and how impressive it is and how much needs to be celebrated that Imoco Conegliano has won the LegaVolley Femminile. They beat Malonza again. 3 matches to none. I think it was 3-1, 3-0, 3-0. This is their 7th league title in a row and their 8th overall. They have not lost a domestic event, Everett, since the 2019 Coppa Italia to Paolo Egonu on Novara, which is unbelievable.
That's so filthy.
We don't really need to talk about the series. This was not a competitive series. We don't need to go into the numbers. No, none of that. Not the same way that we did for the Turkish League series. The conversation to have here is, pending the results of this year's Champions League, is this the greatest women's volleyball team of all time?
Yes. Look at this roster, Rob St. Clair. Look at this roster, right? You just dummied the majority of the starting lineup of the Olympic champions, right? You just dummied them, right? It wasn't even fun to watch. It was boring.
I know it wasn't.
It was not kind of. It was shit to watch. It was shit volleyball to watch. Hell, the Tauron Liga final between Rzeszów and whoever was way more entertaining to watch yesterday, right? The VAKIFBANK Fenerbahçe, even though it was a shit kicking, was way more interesting to watch.
Way more.
This Conegliano team is they just diffuse everything. When you look at it on paper too, Zhu Ting, Gabi, Voloj, Hawk, Sarah Farr is really writing herself into the Reckerberg books, and then you have
on the planet at least.
You have the penultimate undisputed best women's libero of all time in Monica De Gennaro. So this is
her husband, the best coach on the planet.
And we're not even talking about who you can go to on the bench with Nanami Seki and Martina Lukashik and Kalia. Like, this is any one of that bench team might honestly have been done better in the finals than Malonza. Obviously, that's pushing it a little bit, but like their bench is a playoff team in the LVF
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. This was, I mean, I watched the match yesterday. I was not surprised at all by the result, and the things that stuck out to me were how just how difficult Conegliano makes it to beat them by how long you have to sustain being so amazing to even take a set. Like they make themselves so difficult to beat because you have the best setter on the planet with the ball in her hands. I mean, Everett, you and I saw Voloshe in person. She's magic. She's straight up magic. You have an opposite that is a true world-class scorer, one of the best, certainly one of the best on the planet, one of the best of all time. And you have Gabi Guimaraes, who won the MVP of the series, serving the ball to her a complete it's just not an option. You can't do it. Moki is even getting kills like with her platform in the third match of the final. Like this team's incredible. They're top to bottom incredible. I really think that they defeated Malonza mentally. I think Malonza physically, they have some obviously they have some outstanding pieces. They have Paula Egonu, who is a monster. I never for a split second saw in this series Malonza believing in themselves that they could win. Never for a second. I did see that in Novara for a split second when they did win in the semifinals. Malonza is completely incapable of getting past Conegliano mentally. That club has lost now 15 matches in a row to Conegliano. And they're going to have to play him one more time in the Champions League semifinals. And if Malonza took a set, I would be stunned. They cannot get past this team mentally. They can't do it.
There's just something about Conegliano that just disarms Malonza. Someone said it in the chat that Egonu leaving Conegliano was the worst decision of her career, and I fully agree. If you think of how, like, you put Egonu in that position instead of Conegliano continues to win, right? Hell, arguably it's probably easier, to be honest, to have Hawk on the team than Egonu, right? Just in terms of personality wise. I'm not saying that she's difficult, but she does demand the ball, right? She does demand, I don't know how well she works in a system. She is the system, right?
She is the system.
James Harden, except she's way better than James Harden ever was. So whereas Isabel Hawk can clearly play within a system, she can be the system and she can play within a system. There's no doubt about it. That's a consistent from her time with VAKIFBANK. That's a consistent to hear now. But yeah, if Egonu had stayed, she would have had how many more Champions Leagues, how many more Scudettos, all of that, no doubt about it. But yeah, I think that there's two conversations to be had here. We had the first one is this the best team of all time? I don't know if you weighed in, but I'm going to say it for you. Yes, it is.
I think yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it is.
But the other question is, what the fuck is the rest of the LVF doing,
dude?
Right? It's really good for us to sit here and just look at, oh, Conegliano, you're so good, you're so great, you're such a fantastic organization, you have the best coach, you have the best this, you have the. Someone go up against them. So someone actually put up a fight, right? Figure out where you're losing out, because you can't tell me that, right? If Santarelli was that good of a coach, Turkiye would have had an Olympic gold this year, right? If he was absolutely that magic, he's not unbeatable, right?
No, definitely not.
But right,
it's not just him.
No, but it's the entirety of it, right? You said it yourself. What's that stat? When's the last time they lost a domestic title?
2019 Italian Cup.
That was a different world.
Literally.
Right? That was an entirely different world, right? We've gone through so many changes of so much shit. That was pre-COVID. That's an entirely different world. And not one of these organizations, not Malonza, not Scandici, not Novara, any of the big ones from before Conegliano's time. Because remember, they only started getting good towards the end of the 2010s. 2018 is their first championship, and it's just been since then, right? They've only lost one Scudetto championship since then. So yeah, this. Someone else in the LVF, another one of these organizations, needs to stand up and actually put something decent on the floor.
And it's at the organization level too, because it's 100%. Not just about the money. Ozzy in the chat, Malonza's budget is more than enough to have a team that should be able to compete with Conegliano. It's about how the entire thing is built. It's about general management strategy. It's about coaching hires. It's about building roster consistency year over year. It's about creating a situation and a culture for your athletes to succeed, supporting them, like making them feel like they need to give their best for the sake of the club. Like that stuff matters, man. Imoco proves that it matters. And Malonza keeps getting in their own way with, I'd say Scandici has done a worse job of getting in their own way. Malonza just can't get past the mental block that Imoco presents. And they need to take a very hard look in the mirror again and figure out how to do that. If they're content with going to the finals and losing every year, then honestly, that's okay for them. Good for them. I couldn't totally disagree if that was their method, because they're a top 5 team on the planet. And if that's okay with them, fine. Keep rolling out this same sort of thing and get into playing a competitive semifinal and getting smacked in the final if you get there. That's what you want to do, fine. If you want to compete, change needs to happen.
This is it. I'm obviously privileged to a little bit more information than most, and the LVF wants to become, a dominating league in the world, right? And rightfully so. They have arguably the best product in volleyball in terms of women's volleyball, right? You can fully make that argument, and they see the moves that a League One is doing in the United States in terms of the capital that they're starting to amass and the level at which they're working at. And the LVF wants to be able to compete at that level, right? The infusion of the American money into the women's volleyball market is going to be fascinating to watch over the next 10 years. And the people who have the most to lose are the LVF. There's no, you are sitting at the top of the pyramid, and that pyramid is about to be shook up. Right, it is
extremely old, right? Rusting, rotting, slowly pyramid. The foundation is wearing away.
I know just how difficult it is to work with some of these institutions, let's say. And yeah, I think that Conegliano is just proving, it's just proving to me that if there was just more they're just going out there and we're putting together their quality team. Ozzy, I love you, but in the chat you're saying that Imoco took all the best players. That's such fucking bullshit.
That's just
look at Malonza's roster, right?
Sure, four gold medal starters, and
yeah, but look at how much better Zhu Ting is with this team. We thought Gabi was good with VAKIFBANK. Look what she's able to do with Conegliano. Right, it's just everyone comes to this program, and everyone comes to this team and just levels up and just gets better. And I would love for one of these players to talk with me a little bit off the record. Maybe we'll ask. Key Michael's good friends with Aja Voloj. They played together. Key, if you're watching, because we know you watch us from time to time. We love you for it. Thank you for posting about us. You need to get in there and ask her what that culture is.
What is the difference? Actually,
what is the difference actually between these teams? You're 100% right on that, because it's just proving to them that it's hey, if you just do this can level up your franchise. And it's such a it just shows how unserious volleyball is that we want to be the best. Oh, we're letting one team dominate absolutely everything for now over half a decade.
It's the level and the duration of the domination is insane. And now that domination is so established that there are mental barriers much stronger than physical or financial barriers stopping anybody from taking Conegliano down. And that's just the way it's going to stay, unless Everett, do you see any planet on which Malonza beats Conegliano in the Champions League semifinals?
No. Me neither. Maybe. No.
Barring injury, obviously.
The thing is that maybe, but no. No. Emotionally right now, if I look at it rationally on paper, yes. Of course. Why not? You have Paolo Gono, right? And you and I have talked about not betting against her in the Champions League before.
Absolutely.
So you're right, but you're losing either way if you're gonna make a call with this one.
Indeed, congratulations to Imoco. Really, just because it was predictable, doesn't mean that it
No,
shouldn't be celebrated for appreciated. Really,
No,
amazing what they've done.
I think the fact that it is predictable, especially when you look at who they've done it against, like this isn't just a group of scrubs, right? This is the best that the best have had to put up against them, and now it's honestly sad to me a little bit that they have to play Bologna again in the Champions League semis, because I want to see them against a Turkish team.
Same,
right? I wish Fenerbahçe would have had to not play VAKIFBANK and maybe see Fenerbahçe try to take them on before VAKIFBANK takes them on to the finals.
It would have been nice if we would have had 2 Italian versus Turkish semis on either side, but didn't work out that way. All right. Speaking of Italy, Everett, we're going to stay here and we're going to switch over to the men's side. We have a finalist. It is not the series that we expected to be a sweep, but Trentino takes down Piacenza 3-0, 3-1 in match number 3, and Trentino's going to the final.
I'm disappointed by Piacenza in this.
Well, that shouldn't be surprising to anybody.
This I think this was the best opportunity for Piacenza here. I just didn't really see the passion from them. I needed to see them get into it, and we saw it in game number 1. I thought we saw it a little bit, but especially in this last game, it just seemed like they were just defeated. I think their best opportunity was game number 2, and at home, and then they just let it kind of slip away from them. And that's when, like, if you lose at home in that way, it just kind of gets to you. It just writes the writing on the wall.
It does. And there's another team that we're going to talk about later who I think is feeling that as well from a game earlier today. But Trentino's going to the final. They've got all the time in the world to prepare. Alessandro Micheletto was terrific. He had 5 aces. That's insane. We have a Landy alert for Flavio. 14 for 16, no errors, 3 blocks, 17 points. 17 points on 16 attacking attempts is disgusting. Good for him. Piacenza will play for 3rd against, we don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean,
match 5, Everett. Who would have thought Lube, 2 match wins in a row? They get the precious and difficult win on the road, 5-setter in Perugia in match number 3. They turn it around match number 4 with a 3-dong, and now tomorrow is the biggest match of the year in Italy.
I want to break this down a little. I do want to dive into this one a little bit.
Which one? Match 3 or 4?
So I want to start with the 5-setter. Like, let's be honest. Match 4 was just an error fest on the side of Perugia. Yeah. But when you look at the way Lube has been playing, but even this one was an error fest a little bit on like throughout. Like the first set was ridiculous, but it ended up being a really entertaining match. Perugia, though, 32 service errors. Lube, not that, like, still pretty bad at 28, but 32 service errors for Perugia, 28 for Lube. For Lube, a combined 60 missed serves in this one.
That's a lot. Now there were 21 aces, so they were getting something back for them, but it was an error fest. Plus then 12 unforced attack errors for Perugia, 14 unforced attack errors for Lube. Like, both team efficiencies were very, very low. But this was kind of like, I think you said at the beginning of this series, the best chance Lube has to win the series is to make this the caliber of volleyball as disgusting as possible. And this was kind of gross.
I don't know. No. Not like that. I don't think I said it like that. But I think that, Lube has 2 advantages where, like, they're a much better serving team, and not only in serving aces, but just the general serving pressure that they're able to.
I don't know if I agree with that. Perugia's got Plotnitsky and they've got a lot of arms.
Yeah, but the way that, like, maybe they're not necessarily a better serving team, but their serving is more important in their game plan and their way that they're executing. That's the way that's the way that they're able to bully right now Perugia and put pressure on them, because they're just beating them down from the baseline. Everyone's figured out that Kalachi is a bullshit libero, and there's no way he should be there. And they're just going at them for it. But then on the same time, you're just getting these hot and cold performances from mostly, to be honest, Oleg Plotnitsky. And my biggest gripe, I think, about Perugia over the past 2 matches is the fact that I think that Kamil Semeniuk has actually been playing pretty well. And yet they want to have Plotnitsky out there and push him. I know that he's been their guy this year, but it's just like he's come back from that injury and it's just not happening as much. Ishikawa off the bench has not been great. Ishikawa off the bench has not been great. He's been kind of bullied a little bit. We saw flashes of him in the last game, but still nothing great from a guy that I consider to be a top 5 outside in the world.
Dude,
looking like you come out there.
I know coming off the bench is hard, but you come in a playoff game and you go 0 for 4 with 3 errors.
And you're supposed to be like, there's people who die on the hill that you're the best player in volleyball.
And like Mr.
Right? Like,
consistency and
and everything like that. And bro, trust me, there's plenty of times when he is, but like right now he's not showing it. I think that Semeniuk has actually been pretty damn good. Especially in the last match, like him and Bentaro are both cooking in the first set. And yet this seems to be this need for Perugia to establish Plotnitsky. Bro, if it's not working, go to one of your other superstars.
Dude, Rasmus
I don't understand.
Put up the point in the chat. Why is Bentaro only getting 16 balls in 5 sets? That's insane. That's insanely low volume. That's half of Plotnitsky and Semeniuk's volume. Like what? This is your opposite. He's incredibly explosive. Give him the ball more. He's got 5 aces. He's feeling himself. He's playing well. That distribution does not make sense.
No, none of this distribution, like none of the decisions right now happening on the Perugia side make any sense. And this is where I'm really starting to question Simone Gianelli, right? Like we saw such a dichotomic response from him back at the Olympics. Like on one side, they're down 24-21 to Japan, down 0-2 in the quarterfinals. And he goes back and puts the team on his back, going on a serving run, and ensues one of the best games of all time. And then in the other side, he gets mopey in the timeout as soon as he's not perfect. Like, what the hell is going on here? And like another situation where he's just kind of broken down. And what this Perugia team should be a truck. They should be an absolute truck. And the fact that they're faltering this way against a Lube team who has a rice dish balling out for them at libero, like we wrote Lube off because they didn't have Velasco. Now, they did have Velasco, some of that double sub that they had bringing in. I love it. Love to see it midday, but goodness gracious. Like, you have a backup libero in there. Go at Pisotto. Go at him. Try to break him. Like, I don't understand what's going on. You guys should be the best team in the world, and you look like a club team.
They really should be the best team in the world, and it's a good reminder of shout out to our guy Devin from the Volleyball Coverage Channel who clips out a bunch of our stuff. You know, he was hospitalized briefly over the weekend, so hope he's doing well. We're rooting for him. But he posted the clip of me angrily insisting to Ferdinando Di Giorgi that you do not allow Simone Gianelli to play for Italy this summer, and this is another excellent reminder of that.
Yeah,
get him out of there. Now,
his ass on the bench.
Please. I think we need to give Lube a lot of credit for this comeback as well. Winning on the road at Perugia is damn difficult, and I kind of love that you got your guy EFL in the photo here coming off the bench to be super duper good, and then you put Nikolov back in to be the closer in the 5th. I kind of really like that. It's very similar to what we saw them do in the Italian Cup, which they won.
Yeah, I'm bitter about it.
I know I'm
bitter about it. Like that pisses me off a little bit because Lepke was cooking. EFL was having a good game. Like he kind of put them on this. He carried them through like the 2nd and 3rd, a little bit and into the 4th. Right. That's what. Yeah. That's it. Like that's when he came in, and then whatever. I'm just honestly like I like the brand of volleyball that Lube is playing right now. I really think that a lot of credit needs to go to Pisotto. Pisotto has been unreal, just absolutely incredible.
What a hard job, man. You step in for a libero who's that good in a massive moment against a team like Perugia, and he's outplaying Kalachi in this series.
100%. He absolutely is. Now the numbers don't suggest that. Kalachi's passing numbers are way better, but emotionally it feels that way.
I agree.
Emotionally on defense, but especially too because like this happens when it's maybe like a secondary player, like we saw it in the JW today with Popacek who went down, and that 19-year-old kid Jerkic comes in, and it's like when you have a B guy on the court, whenever he makes a play, everyone rallies.
Yeah,
around,
100%.
Right? Everyone's going to rally around him, and that's kind of a rallying point. And you know what? Just I ultimately what really intrigues me about Lube right now is that I'm going to stick to my guns and say that like you don't even have your best roster on the court. I think
that match number 4 here proves that out, like you're saying, because Alex Nikolov was completely unconscious, 14 for 18. Matija Botel almost as good. Adas Lagumja was terrible. And
but even it's match number 3. In match number 3, he's 8 for 27 with a 0% efficiency. And then you go into match number 4, and it's much of the same. Like Adas Lagumja is being hid right now. We can see that Lepke is better. I already broke down about how I think he's a blocking liability.
Yeah.
You know what? If I'm the Turkish national team, I'm starting Gürbüz. I'm sorry. Like I'm really serious about this. Like the fact like Lube is out here winning these matches in spite of not having like, I'm sorry, Lagumja in the past 8 sets has scored 13 points
on negative efficiency.
On not quite negative efficiency, but really close.
Oh, like, barely above 0. Okay,
yeah, barely above 0. So like, what are we doing out here? Why is he in there?
Like, I don't know. They just you have high ball scoring ability in Nikolov. It's not like
Nikolov is one of the best scorers on the planet.
Yep.
There is something different in that Nikolov gene. Him and his brother they just know how to hit the volleyball. You know,
they're both really good at hitting the volleyball.
Yeah, like it's just really like hit ball, hit ball, hit ball, hit ball. You know, I know they didn't grow up in the Soviet era, but like it does fucking seem like it because like
sure they're
right. And Nikolov, man, I love he just comes out of anything. Like what, 14 for 18, no errors in this last
straight up
match.
Untouchable.
Just disgusting.
Also, the clip went viral. Mattia Boninfante setting a ball while laying with his back on the ground. That was awesome.
That was sick. Big Boninfante fan too.
Yep.
Dude's just a straight up baller, right?
Yep.
There's some like it's crazy because we've got people in the chat and in the Discord saying that Spertoli is like Poro is better than Spertoli, and then other people are saying is Boninfante is better than Poro. So you're telling me that Boninfante should be the starting Italian setter?
Imagine having that conversation a year ago after Spertoli wins Champions League, and we're talking about Poro and Boninfante needing to take some of his court time, which he doesn't even get because De Giorgi refuses to sit Simone Giannelli for a single match the entire summer. Well, give him time off, please.
Who's the bald backup for Perugia?
Oh, like Zopolari or something?
Zopolari. I was thinking about doing a post of like the best bald backups, and Spertoli is the king backup, even though he's the starter at Trentino. He's the king backup
because king of the backups.
Bro,
you got Acquarone behind him on Trentino. Man, there are a lot of bald backup setters.
I was looking it up. Like I think he started 2 matches all of last year, and
I'm honestly surprised he was even 2. I don't remember what they would have been.
He has like under 100 assists for the past 2, like the past last year was just Olympics and VNL.
It's unacceptable. So match number 5 tomorrow. It's at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. It is the biggest match in Italy of the year. What's your pick? What do you think happens?
Shit, man. This is where like
in Perugia.
My head wants to go Perugia. My heart wants to go Lube. I'm stuck on that right now. Because we know that like this is I don't know if there's a team with more pressure on them right now in this moment than Perugia going into this match. Because of just everything that this team and program and club is and what they stand for. All of the moves is always to be the number one. Like they want to be the Conegliano of men's volleyball, and they're far from it. They're far from it. Every year we start the conversation of are they going to get the Infinity Gauntlet? Are they going to win everything? And every year they let us down. I want to say Conegliano because I want to see I want to see the curse ended, and I want to see sorry, not Conegliano. I want to say Perugia because I want to see Trentino versus Perugia in the finals.
Yeah, I also want to see Trentino Perugia in the finals. I think Perugia figures it out at home. I think they give Bentara more balls. I could think Plotnitsky can't be as bad as he has the last 2 games. Home crowd, maybe Gianelli figures it out. I hope for kind of Perugia and many others' sake that they figure this out. So if they don't, there will be a lot of very interesting ripple effects, one of which would be a Trentino Lube final that I think would be gross but entertaining in one way. But I think like the better volleyball to watch in the final would be Trentino Perugia. That's what I would like to see. So
and to be honest here, I'm just gonna die on this sword right now. But I do think that essentially like Lube is going to get stuck, and they should have gone to a 3 outside hitter system. I'm going to stay on it. You won a Coppa Italia by doing that. I just don't understand.
They did.
I am sounding like a jilted lover. You're right, Ozzy, but still.
We'll see. All right. Before we move on, Daddy Stankovic. He's hidden somewhere in every show, like he always is, as part of the Where's Daddy segment. Y'all got to try and keep an eye out for where Daddy appears. When you find him, you comment the timestamp of where he appears in the main YouTube comments below. Do not do it in the live chat. Last week, we were previewing the LegaVolley Femminile final because it hadn't happened yet. And now 1 show later, that series is already over. But here, I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit more so that you all can see. But we were talking about the LegaVolley Femminile final. And there in the middle of the trophy, can you see him?
Yes.
How about now? There he is. There's Daddy. Daddy hidden in the middle of the trophy, which Conegliano took home. And I hope they are properly hung over today after their celebrations. So we had some people find Daddy. Islam Tunjai found him first. Daddy in the LVF trophy. Our friend Devin said Daddy about to play in the Serie A finals. Yep, that's where he was. So good job. Keep an eye out for Daddy this episode. Make sure you comment the timestamp of where he shows up in the main YouTube comments after the show is over. And anything else you want to drop in the comments, that would be great too. Like if we've introduced the Landy alert, where if you have a middle blocker with more points, double-digit points and more points in an attacking attempts.
I don't know. It can't just be a middle blocker. Because imagine if we had an outside hitter that was doing that.
That would be nuts.
That would be fucking monster. That would be absolutely fucking monster, right?
Wow,
so Landy alert, it's mostly gonna be middle blockers. Like in the same way when you want to search stats for a league, you can't just go efficiency because the efficiency and hitting percentage, middles are gonna dominate. Yeah, like there's gonna be way more middle blockers getting Landys, but if you're an outside hitter or an opposite getting a Landy, hoo-wee, baby.
That would be nuts.
Right?
If you pop a Landy line from the wing, it's got to be double-digit points, though. It's got to be high enough volume. But
True. Yeah, you can't be getting like 4 points. Like that's not a Landy alert.
Yeah.
Like you got to be Nikolov was actually pretty damn close. If Nikolov had been able to rack off of he had 15 points in 18 attempts in this last match.
Damn,
that's pretty fucking close. That's as close as about as close as you're gonna get as an outside hitter on that.
That is nuts. If you find any Landy alerts in the volleyball that you're watching, drop them in our comments so that we can find them. In case we miss them in any major games, and if you see a Landy alert, let us know.
Also, what does the community in Discord think about? Rob's gonna hate this, but having like a community transfer sheet, where
that would be helpful.
Like if we had like a volleyball source transfer sheet, like maybe it's like a Google Doc, and anyone can go in. I don't know how we would organize it. Maybe if someone wanted to help with that, but we talk about so much transfers, and like there's so many people who will like be in conversations, whether it's in the chat or in the Discord, and they'll be like, oh, like, what about this player? And everyone's like, oh, you should have been here for this. And like calling people idiots because they weren't there that one time for that one conversation on a Discord that's all continuously moving and evolving. So maybe there's a way for us to like have a community curated transfer seat. I don't know. Think about it. Get back to me.
Somebody says that Kenny Diaper has that already, which I wouldn't doubt knowing him. I just haven't seen it. So.
This is definitely, Kenny has definitely talked about it. And but I haven't like talked to him about I don't know if I, want to steal his. But yeah, Kenny, get back to me.
Yeah,
I know you're probably asleep right now. Oh no, it's
he never sleeps, dude. That dude is a psychopath in Australia. He never sleeps ever.
Honestly, I do wonder if he sleeps.
He doesn't.
He
can't. He's in. It's ridiculous. Join the Volleyball Source Discord. Friendly reminder, links in the description. We will do an episode in a week or 2 or 3 about like end of season awards for club once some of these finals start to die down. But I know the community is already putting that together, so we appreciate you all for weighing in on your thoughts on your respective countries. And you want to talk about Poland?
Yeah. Poland has been boy.
So we had Poland today.
We had Poland. We had Poland on the weekend.
Yes, we did. We're going to go series by series because both semifinal series are tied 1-1 in best of 3 series. So the next game in each series will decide who goes to the final. Let's start with this one because I was not expecting. First? Yeah. I think we should do Lublin Zawiercie first. I was not expecting on Friday Lublin to go on the road to Jastrzębie and steal that match in 4. And they set themselves up for a chance today to play at home and go to the final for the first time ever. And unfortunately today they kind of blew that chance.
They fucked it up. Today was their chance. Today was their chance. First of all, how'd you say Jastrzębie?
Jastrzębie, that's the town.
Oh,
Jastrzębski is the club.
Jastrzębie is the town. Okay,
Jastrzębie is the town.
Zdrój, yeah.
I feel like Polish people are just making stuff up at this point.
Honestly, yeah, like you guys just pull anything out of a fucking hat.
Crazy.
I honestly don't understand it.
Crazy language.
But
anyway,
yeah, I mean, when you look at match number 1, to me, it was just a classic Wilfredo Leon domination. 25 in 4 sets, 18 for 29, 4 blocks, 3 aces. That was textbook, and the team around him was fantastic.
Good enough.
Yeah, and good enough. Like they played that supporting role really, really well. And then on the other side of the net, let's just say that there's sometimes I understand the hate Fornal gets.
I was hoping you were going to go there.
Sometimes I go in there, it's like, yo, why the witch hunt? Fornal's great. But then I watch a game like this and I'm like, bro, what's going on? Why? Like, you just look so lackadaisical as you hit 7% efficiency.
Yeah, he goes 10 for 27 with 8 errors, and every time he does actually kill a ball, he stares down the blocker that's 6 inches short of them and on the other side of the net.
Yeah, it just hasn't been it for me. On the JW side, and man, even today, even today, I think that this one was way more of a miss from Lublin than it was of a win from JW. And in certain ways, it was for sure. But we can
the winner. The winner today for JW was Luciano Vicentin, for sure. He came off the bench,
he was MVP 100%.
Incredible. 15 points, high efficiency, 2 aces, like exactly what they needed off the bench when Carl was like clearly not the guy out the jump. But I agree that Lublin really missed an opportunity today. Leon was as good as he could have been. Low efficiency, made some more errors, but the real thing was the total invisibility of the other players. Like Savitsky got benched, Sasak got benched, Malinovsky came back in for Sasak and was arguably even worse. I think we were all saying
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why they stuck with Malinovsky, especially the way that he ended that second set.
Oh, wait a minute. Sasak was 8 for 18 with 1 error.
This is what I'm saying. He wasn't even that bad.
Why did he get pulled in the first place?
I was wondering, did he get injured? Because I like mid-match, all of a sudden, like it's like they set number because Lublin was in control of the first. JW pushed back at the end. They dominated the second. And then there was a massive gap. I think at one point it was like 18-11. And the next thing I know, like Lublin had made some subs and they had crawled it back. And I think there was like maybe a 3-point deficit. But like the last 2 or 3 points were just Malinovsky aces or errors. And I don't understand why they didn't go back to Sasak right after that. He was having a decent game. And instead they went to Malinovsky, who was a bit of a liability. It kind of handcuffed them.
Made 2 unforced errors into the net against one-on-ones that like in moments that were just not acceptable.
And it just took like, not to mention you had an absolute, like, the fact that you didn't capture set number 1 up to Popacek, like, it looks like he might have done something bad to his hamstring. He did the splits. He immediately started grabbing his hamstring, and someone was like, "It's a cramp." First of all, you're in the first set. If he's cramping in the first set, like, that's
at the libero position.
Yeah, that's
no
some NCVF shit. You know that happened somewhere at the NCVF this weekend. That's
probably
cramped in the first set.
No, those kids were too hungover. That's what that event is all about.
Exactly. Popacek shouldn't be hungover, as starting a PlusLiga semifinal game. But yeah, it's clearly like, I don't know if he's coming back from that. You have a 19-year-old coming in, and like, first and foremost, he comes in, you don't serve the first ball at him. What are you doing?
Crazy.
You serve the second ball on you. He kind of dimes it. It was interesting to watch the emotional response of JW, and I honestly think this is why I don't necessarily jive with JW as a club, where Jurčić comes in for Popacek, who's like arguably one of the best liberos in the world, dimes his first big serve, like, this is the first time he gets tested, dimes it, Fornal scores, only Kaczmarek is the first guy to turn and celebrate with the rookie 19-year-old coming onto the court. Right? That should be a moment with your team where you're like, fuck yeah, great pass. We can do this together. Good job. And Fornal comes down and sees everyone and just kind of gives the kid like one of these,
Dude,
like
that's a really good example of why, for some reason, as good as I know that JW is, I watch them and I'm not convinced. Even though they're clearly really good. They're the 1 seed in one of the best leagues on the planet. They're playing in champions, like, whatever. I know that they're good. My brain knows that they're good. But when I watch them, I just don't know what it is that is missing. I think that's a good example, because like, you and I have played volleyball. A kid comes in, a backup libero comes in and dimes the first ball. Like, the people would be going nuts for that. Exactly like you said,
bro. Yeah, like, if you have, like, especially when you play in like a college situation, and you have a first year who comes in, and like, maybe he serves and like, the bench goes hype. Like, a team understands it. Like, there's even, if you want to like dive into that a little bit, there's even situations in this game where, a blocker is blocking with Toniutti. The blocker kind of goes all out, like the middle blocker falls on the ground, and Toniutti just like kind of like doesn't even acknowledge him. Like, his boy is on the ground, like, doesn't help him up. Like, there's just like some missing of some camaraderie there. And I'm seeing Luke in the chat saying that Kaczmarek gave Jurčić the MVP award at the end of the game. And that's what, like, in that moment, like, especially in the replay, the point scored and Kaczmarek immediately turns, and like, that to me, it solidified why I've always liked Kaczmarek too. Like, you can tell he's a team guy. Like, you can tell he's for the boys. He's FTB, and him giving the MVP award to the young Lib was the perfect thing. And
I like that move.
Yeah, I absolutely love that move.
They need more of that and less of Fornal staring down fucking Martin Komenda when he hits over him.
Like,
I can't keep watching that and believe that this team has what it takes to win a major championship. I can't
honestly,
keep watching it.
It kind of gives me John Morant vibes, like, obviously to a different extent, but it's just like,
less firearm gestures.
It's a little less offensive, a little less American, thank God. But like, it's just like, I get it. You're a big star, and like, you are one of the biggest stars in all of volleyball. Like, just on like, on a social level, like, his Instagram feed is the biggest. It is one of the biggest in the world in terms of men's volleyball. But bro, get out of yourself for a second. Like, the times when I love Fornal is when he's for the boys, and not for himself. And right now it seems like he's playing for himself. And I just get that vibe a lot from JW.
Yeah, I do too. And with all that happening, I really do think that Lublin missed an opportunity today to, like, they're not going to have another opportunity to do it at home. They have to go back on the road in match number 3 and try and do it again. But they need way more from the supporting cast. They need maybe a little bit more out of Leon. Less errors would definitely help. 14 for 31 with 7 errors. But
but they need, like, you need secondary scoring in that situation.
You do.
Like,
you absolutely do.
That to me is the big thing. Like, you can't expect Leon to have 2018 Leon matches consecutively like that. Like it's not going to happen. And even in 2018, when he was balling at his best, he had Matt Anderson and Mikhailov beside him, right? So like you got to give the guy a little bit more support. I want to see them use the middles a little bit more. Give a little bit more volume to my boy Finn McCarthy. Only 3 swings and 4 sets. Like, he's dynamic.
That is not acceptable.
Like I'm sorry, you're giving 14 balls down the middle. It's not enough. Like Savicki, yes, needs to be better. I don't know why Malinovsky was in there. Sasak was actually having a decent game. Like I just don't understand unless something got injured.
The other thing that I didn't understand was like once Vicentin came in for JW and started carving him up, there was no adjustment whatsoever from Lublin's block. You need to move the block a full meter to the inside of the cross court to take the only shot the guy can hit.
Yeah,
nothing of the sort happened.
He was cooking today.
Yeah, Vicentin was hot because
he had
Lublin
fumbles all over the place.
Yeah, he did. Lublin wasn't taking away anything that he liked to hit.
Yeah, no, it was super weird. I still think that it there was times today when I thought Lublin was going to win and go to the finals. There was a moment today where I was like, oh yeah, Lublin's going to win this and they're going to go to the finals and that's going to be a huge story. And then you're reminded why this is still a young club figuring things out. Yeah. I think they're doing something like, bro, the atmosphere in that gym, the crowd that they're able to pull out. You've got Savicki serving an ace. You got steam all over the place. I love everything.
Yeah, the effects are great. I really like them.
So awesome. But you just got to level up in terms of understanding what it is to play and how you have to take care of your opportunities when they're presented to you when you're in a PlusLiga semifinal. Because now you're not gonna, bro. You're telling me that you're gonna beat JW twice in a row at home?
Very doubtful.
Very doubtful.
Very doubtful. So that match number 2, I think, is Saturday. That's going to be awesome. The other series, Everett, maybe even more insane. Warszawa versus Zawiercie, trading 5-setters, including one today that was ridiculous. First off, Saturday, early morning North American time, Warszawa at home took down Zawiercie's reverse sweep effort. They held on 15-12 in the 5th. Crazy match. Linus Weber actually started, which I was very interested by.
Yes.
Made a lot of errors, but it was enough. And I don't know. I didn't get to watch. Well, here's the thing. Without going into too much detail, it sure is a shame that there was no English commentary on this series. Sure is a shame. I think that would have added a lot to this series if there had been English commentary on this series. Anyway, Linus Weber, 20 points in match 1, 15 for 38, 9 errors. It's a lot of errors. Schalpuk, pretty good. Tilly played like an L2. The middles didn't do a whole lot other than Kochanowski was good. Glader got subbed out for Zawiercie. This was a weird match to me.
Yeah, it was early morning in North America. I had a beverage or 2, no more, never more, the night before. So let's just say that my memory of this one is a little bit hazy. I don't really know, but it just seemed like Zawiercie didn't really have their usual mojo. Aaron Russell wasn't fantastic. Bartosz Kwolek was even worse. 3% efficiency over there. They had a 25% efficiency as a team. Errors all over the place. They're getting blocked. It just wasn't the clean volleyball kind of what we've seen from them. And the thing is that they are not a Warszawa that has a deep bench that you can go to somewhere else if things aren't working. Like, you got to go with your guys. That's who they've got. It could be good enough to win a PlusLiga. Who knows? We'll figure that out. But it just wasn't it from them on Saturday morning, especially on the efficiency side of things. Just not efficient enough. Serving wasn't all that great either. Passing was meh. And honestly, I didn't think either of these teams deserved to win it.
No, neither of them played great. I mean, there are, I think 65 unforced errors total between serving and attacking. Just not the prettiest. But the reason why this series is still going and why one of these two teams could still win the PlusLiga is because of today. And today's 5-setter was insanely spicy, very much mirrored from the Saturday game where Zawiercie at home went up 2-0. Warszawa brought it all the way back. But the intrigue here came with Aaron Russell's injury. I do think this was nothing more than a cramp. At least I hope so. Because if he's not able to play on Saturday, Zawiercie is in big trouble.
I think if it was a cramp, we would have seen him come back in the fifth.
I am hoping. All I'm doing is hoping. But when Aaron Russell got subbed out late in the fourth, and he, like you said in the Discord today, Everett, he really came alive in kind of the second half of this match.
Oh yeah, no, he was. I tuned in at the end of the first, and through the first 2 sets, he almost had a Landy stat where he had 3 points but was 0 for 4 attacking, with a negative efficiency. And then all of a sudden in the third set, he went from 0 for 4 with a negative efficiency to 6 for 10, right? So in the third set, he just absolutely blew up, and it was Fat Ron all over the place. He was digging balls. Like, he had the second most amount of digs on the team with 7, behind Karol Butrin, who was, that's not the guy who should be leading you at digs, but all right. And I thought that his game coming alive is really what, helped move things along for Zawiercie, and especially fight back, because, man, Warszawa, when they turn things on, they can be scary.
And they did. They did in sets 2 and 3. Tobias Brand came in off the bench and was awesome.
Man,
he was really good.
He was fantastic. He really brought a nice emotional piece to it. To Kevin Tilley, I don't know why they kept him on so long. 2 for 10 negative efficiency. It just wasn't pretty for the 2-time Olympic gold medalist out there. And then Tobias Brand, this is Warszawa's bread and butter. This is where, their paychecks are made, is by, hey, let's just go to the next man up. Because that's exactly what we saw. Linus Weber got the start again. Actually, I think he carried them quite a bit through the first few sets. He was the only one doing absolutely anything, but Bolanj just came in with an absolutely different energy in the fourth. 6 for 10 attacking, ended up with 7 points. And it honestly, to me, I thought in that 5th set, and I was like, oh, Warszawa's going to the final.
I thought it was over because Russell was out and Butrin was so bad. And then our friend Adonos was saying it in the Discord, and he was right about this, even from when we did the PlusLiga preview all the way back at the beginning of the season, that if there's one thing that stops Zawiercie from having playoff success, it's Karol Butrin's playoff performances. And he was terrible today. He was 12 for 31 with 11 errors. Had to get benched in the 5th for Kyle Ensing. And Patrick Waba was already in for Russell, who was hurt. And when that happened, I had an interesting feeling today. I really realized how much of a Zawiercie actual fan that I am this year, because I was standing up and yelling at the results of the 5th set, and I'm actually really rooting for this team. And when Waba and Ensing came in, I thought there was no chance. I thought it was over. Waba didn't play poorly, but he got dug on a few balls. He made an error on not a system ball. That I'm like, if you have Aaron Russell on the floor, there's a chance you win 1, maybe 2 of those points, and the entire set is different. But
it was way different 5th set, and I said it in the Discord too, that there was a lot of pressure on Waba. Right,
he handled it pretty well.
I thought he did, admirable as well too, but he can't be expected to be Aaron Russell, especially with the way that Aaron Russell was cooking. And you could just see the entire Warszawa team come on, just be like, oh, that's who we're serving to. He got targeted 9 times in what was basically just the one set to 15, right? Because he just came in right at the end of that 4th set.
I loved that Miguel Tavares understood what was going on around him, and whenever possible down the stretch, he fed the ball into the middle. Last 2 kills from Mateusz Biniak. One was way out of system, and then Yuri Glotter with the one-on-one read against Kochanowski to win the match was electric. Home crowd. I
think that
scenes, man, it was so good.
To me, Mateusz Biniak is maybe one of the emotional leaders of this team, and I've seen it a few times when the rest of the team is lagging behind, and he's the kind of pillar of no, guys, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna make a play. I'm gonna serve a ball. I'm gonna make a block. I'm gonna hit a ball that maybe I shouldn't, and I'm gonna score. And We saw that in the 5th set. And, I think Tavares he's not the best setter in the world. He's very good. He delivers the ball very well in a decent fashion. But I think where he has excelled is that he might be the best athlete who also sets the ball.
Such a natural athlete.
He's just a natural athlete. And you could tell that if he was playing beach, if he was playing soccer, if he was playing tennis, any real sport other than like golf and baseball, whatever those games you guys play in America, that he would excel, and he's just that type of guy. He's, who he reminds me of, and this is a big shout out. He reminds me of Sean McKay back at his days of playing at Western University, being one of the only players to go 2-0 against Trinity Western. Now the current coach of Sask, where you're just a good all around setter. You're a fantastic athlete, and you're an emotional leader for the team, right? Maybe the ball isn't there perfectly every single time, but he knows who to set in what moments, and sometimes that's all that matters.
Yeah, I like watching Tavares play a lot. So this series has totally delivered. I mean, today was incredibly entertaining. I'm excited for Saturday's match. See if my preseason pick Zaviercik can stay alive. I hope so. Real curious to see if Aaron Russell plays. Curious to see who Varshava starts, given their options. It's going to be must watch for sure on Saturday. So keep an eye out for that.
For sure, I think Saturday is going to be an interesting day of volleyball. For sure.
Staying in Poland, huge shout out to Developres Rzeszów on the women's side. Them and Coach Stefan Antiga. They've got Lethal Barbie. They've won their first Tauron Liga title ever. I was stunned when I learned that. I couldn't believe that this Rzeszów club, who's been like a Champions League caliber team from Poland, hadn't won one before. But the league's really been chokeholded by Chemik Police and then Łódź, who Rzeszów beat 3-0 in the final. That's been owned by those two teams for so long that Rzeszów had never won one. But I saw the clip of match point and the celebration. It looked really cool. So congratulations to Stefan Antiga and the crew.
Yeah, you know what? I think that the Tauron Liga is one of, if you want to look at up and coming leagues in Europe, it has to be the next one.
Oh yeah,
like just it's
third.
Yeah, and but we're seeing that uptick in the rise of women's volleyball in Poland, and that's naturally going to happen with how popular the men's game is there as well. It's maybe one of the few places where the men's game is more popular than the women's game. But I'm very interested to watch, because I think that they've got some good things over there. But yeah, big shout out to Rzeszów for winning their first one finally. I mean, I remember watching them back in the day, like when Kira Van Rijk was over there playing for Antigua. Antigua's of course gone back after all the other shenanigans with Scandici and whoever else over the years, coaching the Rzeszów. Was it Rzeszów men? Didn't he do PlusLiga?
Antigua? I think he had Skra for a hot second.
Skra.
Maybe it was that he played there. Maybe I'm making that up. I remember him coaching a club in Poland because he had the Polish national team for a little bit. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Resovia. But he stays in town and gets a title for the other Rzeszów team, who is not cursed by the stoogery of the Resovia men's team. And so I haven't dug into this, but Peter just brought it up in the chat. Did you know, Everett, that LKS Kommersant Łódź, who Rzeszów beat in the final, they fired their coach mid-season, and do you know who they hired?
Well,
they hired Zbigniew Bartman, who has never coached before.
Didn't he? Oh no, he played. Wasn't he playing like last year?
They brought him out of retirement. Somebody brought him out of retirement to play last year. He's never coached before at any level, and it just so happens that his girlfriend, Zuzana Gorecka, plays for Łódź's team.
No way.
Dead ass. Bro, they hired a guy who's never coached before to coach for his girlfriend's team.
That's wild, because that's definitely a bit of a PR move, first and foremost.
It's a bad PR move. I mean, you hire a name that people in Polish volleyball know.
Like Kommersant Łódź is like a good club. Like aren't both of the Łódź clubs good in the
I think so.
Liga? Volleyball is volleyball. Yeah, that is volleyball is volleyball. I'm gonna put that on a fucking t-shirt. Volleyball is volleyball.
What a stupid move.
What a stupid sport we have.
Our sport's so stupid. Oh my god,
we're the worst fucking sport.
We really are the worst. Sometimes I really do hate it.
Oh man. based on some of the conversations today, I know this for a fact. We are the worst sport.
Oh, it's
volleyball is the worst.
Yeah, it's bad. But here we are anyway. Bundesliga. We get Lüneburg versus Berlin in the final. At least 3 matches, best of 5. I am very excited about that. The Lüneburg versus Friedrichshafen semifinal was insane. 5 matches, 3 out of the 5 were 5-setters. 3 out of the 5 were, let's see, 15-13 in the 5th match 1, 19-17 in the 5th match 2, 16-14 in the 5th in match 4. And what do you see this on Out of System? That because like Friedrichshafen is down in the very far southwestern corner of Germany. Lüneburg is way up north, kind of by Hamburg. They were busing 11 hours each way to get game to game for that semifinal series. That's absurd.
Yeah, I do think, and I will say that I will preface this by saying that I didn't watch any of this series. Right?
I think I watched match 4 only.
Yeah,
and it was awesome.
I didn't really watch much of or any of this series. However, I do think that on paper this Lüneburg team is better than this Friedrichshafen team. However, I do think that there's a slight bit of maybe a passing of the torch, if you will, between Friedrichshafen and Lüneburg. I know that Lüneburg's club has made commitments in the past few years to add some more money into the system, and they've got that new arena, and they're doing some good things. And of course, we know what's happened with Friedrichshafen over the past few years with their gym and everything that's gone on there. And I think that this win was way more mental for Lüneburg as they are growing out of their maybe little brother role of being that small town, small gym, small town feel club that is just, feeling good to run with the big guys, to being like, hey, we've done some things over the past few years and we want to make a run, but we need to establish ourselves here at home first. And it's really great to be really close and lose 5-setters to Berlin, but that doesn't do us any good if we do that. We beat Berlin in the regular season or in Champions League, and then we don't even make it to the finals because Friedrichshafen gets there. So I think this win overall was more mental for the club than it was, 2 teams actually going at it. Maybe someone who actually watched the series would be better to say it though than me.
So
I'm just talking about my ass. Sorry.
Everett, I just looked back while you were doing that. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The last 11 years in a row in the Bundesliga, the men's final series was Friedrichshafen versus Berlin. 11 years in a row of the same matchup, and now finally Lüneburg gets to one. And I agree. I think that is a bit of a passing of the torch, and Lüneburg is here. And if they were to somehow win this final series, oh boy. And the Champions League series they played was already insane enough, and I'm excited to watch this. I hope they take the paywall away for some of these Twitch games.
Yeah. I might even pay for it, to be honest. We'll see. Because
first game Sunday looks like.
Okay.
27th.
Okay. We'll see. I think that there's because this is probably one of the better versions of Lüneburg, but it's definitely one of the weaker versions of Berlin. Right? And Lüneburg has that belief now. You've got over Friedrichshafen and you've beat this Berlin team in the Champions League. You have that that belief. That belief. That was not intentional.
I liked it.
I wish it would have.
Shout out to Masso from Cuba. Switched positions in the middle of the series, and it looked like he played well. Went from middle to opposite for Friedrichshafen. That's not easy to do. He's really athletic.
Yeah,
he's really. I feel like Ronnie said something in the Discord that he might play opposite for Cuba, which I actually would really like. Kind of like him there a little bit better.
Speaking of opposites for Cuba, have you seen how fucking yoked our boy is?
Herrera. Well, no, he's certainly not getting any court time, so he might as well just get in the gym.
That's what I look like. It's like, bro, this guy is, and he just signed for another year of Peru too. So I don't understand.
Really?
He just must love the Gold's Gym fitness there in Perugia because he comes on, he's bursting out of the seams. His traps are up here. He's looking like a fucking villain. There's no way I'm talking any shit to Herrera anytime soon. His biceps are 4 or 5 inches bigger. I'm not joking. He is outrageous. So fucking yoked.
I really hope that we can interact with Cuba again this summer somehow.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We will. Moving on. LNV playoffs. I think this isn't quite up to date because Poitiers took down Toulouse in match 5 of that series. So the semis are Montpellier versus Tours on one side and Chaumont versus Poitiers on the other side. Best of 3, which is so stupid. But those 4 teams are all kind of good. And I think it's a coin flip on who wins, but I'm really interested because of the implications that it has on next year's Champions League. Like who that makes a run to the final or wins is planning on being good again next year and being like
honestly,
relevant to the Champions League level.
I will be the first one to say it. I think like France has the same amount of relevance as like Belgium in the Champions League right now. Right, like to me, it's like Italy and Poland on the men's side. You got Italy and Poland, and then we got Turkey, and then we've got Germany, and then we've got like everyone else. Like we've got Olympiacos making runs. Hell, we had the Canary Islands making runs.
That's
right.
That's
When's the last time any team from France has done anything?
Tours had an okay year like 2 years ago. They beat Resovia, but like I agree. I would like for
wasn't that CEV Cup? I'm pretty sure that was CEV Cup.
Maybe it was.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
the French league is so interesting to me. I feel like there's so much talent, and none of them can do anything outside of their own.
Then they cannibalize themselves in the playoffs with their Mickey Mouse rules. Like the format is so stupid, and then you open up a free for all transfer window
also,
for teams that are in the playoffs.
What is Marmara?
I thought it was like some Turkish tourism company that for some reason is sponsoring the French volleyball league.
Someone tell me what fucking Marmara is.
No idea. Legitimately, really interestingly, next up on the other side of the world is the SV League men's semifinals. Centauri Sunbirds with Mazursky, Ran, Schlifka against the Nagoya Wolf Dogs like Namir, Tina Earnout. Like that. This semifinal, I think, is going to be really, really fun. Nagoya beat the JT Thunders 3-1, 3-0 to get here. Then on the other side is maybe my favorite series in Japanese volleyball, Osaka Blue Dion, which is like Jeski, Lopez, Iro, Nishida against the JTech Sting. So like Sakita, Miyaura, DeFalco, Lucarelli.
That one's going to be spicy. I think that one's going to be really spicy, especially because JTech suffered some injuries this year. Not having Kento Miyaura really put
it dropped him to the 4 seed line where they're probably better than I think they're much better than the 4 seed which they ended up at, and now they're healthy. So that those games are, I think, what is this? Wednesday night, like Wednesday super late night, Thursday crazy early morning.
Yeah, it's like Thursday for them.
Yeah,
I think something
actually,
like that.
Actually, it might even be. It looks like it's like midday Friday for them, which is Thursday midday for Europe, and who knows? I don't know anything about Far East Asian time zones. It's not like in my
okay. I don't know.
Awesome. But these games are good and they're on VBTV. So if you can watch them live, great. If you can watch the highlights, great. However you want to do it. I don't have an asset for this, Everett, but if there's anything about the PVF you want to tell us about like on court, because I was real curious to see the report that apparently the Omaha Supernovas are trying to bid to host the Club World Championship.
That would be the smartest thing the volleyball world has ever done by saying
by far.
Omaha averages higher than Omaha averages like what a record-breaking crowd is in Italy. It is the best volleyball town in the US. It is volleyball town in USA. And if they brought the World Club Championships, you would actually sell out games. And it wouldn't be terrible. I think that would be an amazing idea, and it would also guarantee them a spot at the tournament. So yeah, I fully think that Omaha bidding for the World Club Championships is actually a genius idea.
I agree.
The reality is that like I don't know this, but it's going to happen. Like I would be astonished based off what I know. I would be astonished if this doesn't happen.
I hope it does.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
We could go there.
100%. If the World Club Championships
it would be really easy to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be so fascinated
regardless
to
of my
see, like,
employment
what.
status at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That would be a very interesting one, depending on, I mean, even what league the Omaha Supernovas are playing in at that point, and like who the hell's on the roster.
This is what I'm like. The next 10 years of American women's volleyball is the most interesting. It's crazy. Just as USA as a country going downhill, American women's volleyball right to the top.
Oh yeah, lots of money.
Lots of money.
Speaking of American volleyball, it is. This doesn't look great. I'll fix that. It is conference championship week in men's NCAA. Hawaii went on the road and got donged over the weekend at UC Santa Barbara because they are merchants of their home gym and they cannot play on the road. However, fortunately for them, the Big West tournament is in Honolulu. Very fortunately for them. So that'll be fun. There's the MIVA tournament already started. The Final Four is tonight, like Loyola versus Lewis and Ball State versus McKendree, I think, are tonight. The EIVA tournament is tonight. I think the early part of the MPSF tournament is tonight. So maybe this time next week, we will know some of the teams in the men's NCAA tournament. I don't think like Selection Sunday or whatever is for another week, but we're getting down to it men's NCAA wise. And there's going to be there are going to be a couple very good teams that do not make the NCAA tournament, and that's going to piss some people off. You got to be ready for that, and you got to play well this time of year. Also, UCLA and USC split the crosstown series over the weekend. UCLA won 5 at home. USC swept at home.
I think USC sucks.
I don't think you've watched USC, or you haven't watched a healthy version of USC.
No, I definitely haven't. I'm very much just doing this to talk shit.
Just being a hater.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like USC, but they need to be healthy, and they need to because they lost a bunch of random games while they were missing starters. They sort of have to win the MPSF tournament now to be comfortable getting in the NCAA tournament, and they can do that because they're the 2 seed and they've got a pretty decent draw, but that there's definitely going to be some drama there. And then also, like, if Irvine and Hawaii play each other in the semis of the Big West tournament, which is likely given the draw, that's going to be an enormous game. That game could be for an NCAA tournament spot potentially.
Hawaii just out here buying their ticket to the tournament.
It really is not like competitively fair in any way how many games they get to play at home. It's ridiculous.
It is a little wild. Someone needs to do an investigation into that.
But on one side, competitively it is not fair. On the other side, they're rewarded for actually investing in men's volleyball, and I like that.
True. Let's go into that. But I mean, different culture over there.
Very in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
In a good way. They're the absolute best. It's funny to see Taylor Averill's Instagram just living his best life over on the islands right now, just not even thinking about touching a volleyball. Good for him.
I think he's back on the mainland now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Either way, he was at the stand at a bunch of games and surfing and doing like Pilates and all this nonsense. And yeah, it's good to be Taylor Averill.
Right. Pilates is not nonsense. Have you ever done Pilates?
It would destroy me. I might
you up.
I might be the least flexible person on planet Earth.
But it's not even about flexibility. It's all about isolating your core muscles. Oh, I'm doing Pilates on Saturday actually.
Are you? Can we film that? Can we vlog that? That would be amazing.
Honestly, okay, so because Sam is actually a Pilates instructor, and she's been a mat Pilates instructor for years. So like we'll do that shit at home, but now she's doing her reformer training, which is like the big fucking machine. And I've like been like, yeah, we should film this for hilarity's sake. We did it the first time, and we did it the first time a couple weeks ago, and I almost passed out. Literally, like I had to sit down at a certain point because it's just putting you in all these different positions. And I use the analogy that you're just using train tracks in your body that you haven't used for a long time. So you're just put in these weird positions and you have to push yourself and pull yourself. You're like, oh, I haven't used that muscle since I was like 17. What the fuck is going on? So yeah, Pilates kicks the shit out of you.
Yeah, I would not do well in a workout like that in any way. I already know. So I need to not have a camera on myself while doing any of those things. But
no, that's what we need to have that happen.
maybe Chicago VNL, we can go
put you through Pilates for sure.
Oh God. Oh boy. Maybe if I can drink Malort in between, or give the Pilates instructor some Malort for the content.
No, you have to do shots of Malort every time you every time you fuck up an exercise, or you fall, or like you can't finish the reps. You have to do a shot of Malort.
Sign me up. That's content there, boys and girls. It's content for this YouTube channel only. If that. All right. I think that's a show. Are you going to a concert tonight? You got places to be?
I'm trying to. My friends who, okay, we had talked about this going to this concert a long time ago. It's called, do you know Barry Can't Swim?
No.
He's like a Scottish electronic music artist. He's fucking
Sounds cool.
Great. Yeah, he's dope. Look him up. So like my friends like, yeah, let's go to Barry. We miss the tickets for when they go on sale. So everything sells out, and we're like, let's just see and buy resale tickets. So the resale tickets are cheap. They're looking pretty good. Last week, I had forgotten about the show, so I had made plans to we're going to watch all of Star Wars with friends. Of ours, because one
all
of our
9 of them.
No, we're not going. We're just sticking to the actual. We're not touching any of that Disney fucking bullshit. Okay, Catherine Kennedy can suck my nuts. But yeah, like we're gonna watch Star Wars, and I forgot. And my friend's like, no, like we're going to Barry. And so I was like, okay, guys, sorry, I can't watch Star Wars. And then now I'm getting texts being like, I don't know if we're feeling it. It's a Wednesday. It's like, guys, make up your mind. It's beautiful in Toronto outside. Let's just go outside and drink.
It is beautiful. I'm going to go outside immediately.
Technically unemployed right now. Let's go outside and drink.
Oh boy, yeah, we got a lot going on over here in our lives, boys and girls. But we appreciate you watching the show. Make sure you join the Volleyball Source Discord. The link's in the description. Everett, I hope you have a fun evening doing whatever it is that you're doing. I'm going to do the same. Me too. So Loyola Lewis starts in like a little over an hour. I might go up to the game.
Yeah, why don't you?
I might go up to the game. Let's see if I can make that work.
Can you get a media pass?
I can probably get in for free if I text the right people really quickly, but it might be too late. I don't know. I'll see what I can do and figure it out. But that would be a fun game. Little Chicago rivalry. All right. Either way, enjoy all the volleyball. Italy tomorrow, Poland over the weekend. Whatever else is going on in the various finals around the world. And
I have a meeting. Otherwise, I do a watch along. But
bummer. Right. We'll see y'all next week. We appreciate you getting the Discord. We'll see you there.
The Sens are going to win 5-2 tomorrow night.
I hope they do.